Kia Bia, where you at? Where you at? Kia Bia,
That's me.
Kia Bia,
That's me.
Kia Bia.
Yeah, that's me.
What's up, y'all, and welcome to season 1, episode 2. We're finally on episode 2. When I tell you all, it felt like forever. I don't know, but these 2 weeks seem like a very long time since I've been able to even do the podcast. So it was actually really hard because usually, y'all, I'm like, okay, I'm enjoying the break, but this just seemed like it was so long. So I'm happy to be with you all once again for episode 2. So make sure you stay tuned for the full episode so you can hear what we're talking about today and everything like that. But before we get started with the episode, I'm going to add something new into our episode called Praise Break. This is just a time for us to say something good that has happened. So I'm going to share my praise break from these past few weeks. I want you to share on social media what your praise break is for whatever has happened in these past few weeks. So my praise break is that your girl is going to be graduating from her master's program a semester early. Now that don't seem like a lot, but y'all, with full-time job and doing podcasts, doing extra things that you want to do, and doing master's program is very difficult. It's hard at times. So me graduating a whole semester early, I'm super excited. I've been waiting for this time, and to be quite honest, it went pretty fast. So that's my praise break. I'm just happy that I'm graduating early, and I'm happy that I was able to spend a lot of time with my family this past weekend. So I hope you all have had a great weekend, and make sure to share your praise break with me as well. So, what is going on in the world, y'all? Oh my gosh. I feel like it's been a lot. But first, I want to just say Happy Martin Luther King Day. I hope everyone enjoyed their Martin Luther King day. And I hope that you all spent it in whatever way you wanted to spend in just honoring Dr. Martin Luther King for all that he has done for us. So, with that being said, I also want to say Happy Founders Day to my sorority, the first and the finest Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Happy Founders Day to all my sorors out there. Ski wee! Alright, so what else is going on in the world, you all? I don't know if you all heard the song Hours to Hours, but baby, that got everybody in their feelings, got the girls out here feeling sexy and everything. So I hope y'all listen to that song because that's my song, y'all. That right there, that's a hit for sure. And then to just some serious news. So I don't know if you all heard, but Gregory and Travis McMichael have been received life without parole for the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. So I'm so happy to hear that. Also, their neighbor William, he has received life with a possibility of parole. So that is just, you get what you can throughout this world, and so I'm just happy to hear that justice has been served for Ahmaud Arbery and that way. And so also with that, I don't know if you all been watching a show called Women of the Movement. It's on Hulu. I don't know if what channel it comes on TV, but I watch it on Hulu. But it's about the story of Emmett Till and how he died, and about his mother and how she pushed forward to talk about how her son died and how they killed him. And so I've been watching that show, and I must say, like, that show is so good. The actors are wonderful. The storyline, it hits on every aspect. And honestly, it just makes you realize like how far we have came, but how much more we need to do in this world. So that show's really good. I hope that y'all tuning in. Make sure y'all tell me what's y'all favorite show that y'all been watching so far. But yeah, I love that show right there. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else going on in the world, you all. It's a lot that's been going on. Oh, you know what? Before we even move forward with the episode, I do want to just say this because it's been on my heart. And it's been a tough month weeks. Yes. For anyone who has lost a family member, a friend, or have been the person who has been trying to uplift a family or a friend who has lost someone, I'm sending out my condolences to you and your family, my love to you all. I'm praying for strength over you and your family during this time. I know a lot of people personally that has lost someone in these past few weeks, and it's been hard on me because I've known these people as well, and so it has been tough. And so I just want to just send my love to you all during this time. I could not go throughout this episode without saying that because yeah, it's been really hard. So like I said, I'm sending my condolences, sending my love, hugs, kisses, and I'm just praying for strength for you, praying for God to just cover you and your family during this time, and to just remember to just take one day at a time. Everyone grieves differently, and so you can't put a time frame on how long someone can grieve. Everyone has their own time frame of it. So please take as much time as you need during this time as you have lost someone, and just remember to just take each day one day at a time. And I promise it will get better, but take that time to actually grieve before you just continue to move forward in life. All right? Okay. So let's go ahead and get to this episode, y'all, because I know y'all wondering, like, what are we talking about today, girl? Episode 2 is all about it's not that easy. So, Kia, what you mean it's not that easy, y'all? It's not that easy. So, first, I realized that on episode 1, I didn't even tell you all, like, about me. Who am I? Or anything like that. I just assumed y'all just knew me. But hey, I got followers, people who are listening to this podcast who has no idea who I am. So my name is Zakia Brewer. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I'm 24 years old. I'm from the east side of Detroit, the best side. I went to Grand Valley undergrad for multimedia journalism and a minor in advertising and public relations. I am now in my master's program, as you all know, and I'm getting my master's in public administration and public policy. So yes, that's a lot, y'all. What else? I work for a mentorship program. I also work in a school district to support students, kind of like a student advocate, supporting the students and staff. And what else about me? Yes, obviously, I'm a part of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and this is my podcast, and it has been a journey to get to this podcast, and that's what we're going to talk about as well, which just it's not easy. So whether you have been starting a business or trying to get to a job, a career that you really want, applying to a job, or if it's you applying to a school, whatever you're trying to do, a lot of people don't talk about how hard it is or how consistent you have to be. And I want to talk about that because I know that is a big thing, especially now with seeing a lot of people who have started their own business during this whole time frame. And no one talks about like their journey or how they had to get there or the things that they had to sacrifice. And so I want to talk about that in ways that we can push each other to do better, and just ways to help one another out and talk about what has been the struggle, what's so hard, or what kind of, stop us from actually achieving or even going after that goal, that dream that you really want for yourself. So for me, I'm going to talk about my podcast because that was something that was really hard. If you know me, all my life I've always wanted to be in front of the camera. I knew that my smile, my personality, who I am was just, it just shined light on people. It really uplifted people's spirits, and I did not know what that actually meant in my life. I just knew that was my special thing that I had for me. And so I've always said, I'm going to work at a TV station. I'm going to work somewhere where I'm going to be on camera. And that was it. There was no plan B, plan C. It was really that. At one point in time, I said I wanted to be a lawyer, y'all. But then I seen all that school you had to do, and I was like, that's not for me. And that's a part of it's not that easy going after your dream, because you got to know what's for you and what's not for you. What's not for you is not for you, sis, brother, okay? And lawyer was not for me. But anyway, I was in undergrad and I did a radio show with my best friend Terrence. It was so fun. It was the first time that I just went after something that I wanted to do, and I didn't care. I didn't ask nobody what they thought about it. Terrence and I literally had a conversation and was like, let's do this. We've known each other since high school, so it just felt like we were just having a conversation, just friends talking. So that what got that little spark in me to say, okay, I love the camera, I love the mic, and it brought reality to a dream that I've thought of all my life. It was like, okay, you're actually now starting to get in the door, or starting to experience what it feels like, and to actually see if this is really what you want to do. And so that's one thing that you want to look at is this for me? Do I even like this? Because sometimes we can say that we have a dream or that we really want to do something, but you really don't know unless you try. And then that's how you figure out like that you actually want to go after this, or that you want to change your mind and go after something else that may be something that you never thought of. And so for me, that was the radio show. Then after that, I started a podcast. And y'all, I know, right? Your girl, how many podcasts you gonna have before you? Okay, so let's talk about it. I did a podcast with 3 other ladies that I went to school with. They were all my friend. We had classes together, and one I was like, super close to outside of the other 2, just because we were the same age. We had multiple classes together, so we kind of just got close. Then the other 2 kind of came in, like maybe, what was that, junior year? Was that sophomore? Junior? One of them years. We all kind of just got cool, and we all had a conversation. We were like, yo, let's try this podcast thing. We talked about what we wanted it to be. It wasn't just kind of thrown together. We actually thought, okay, what do we want to get out of this podcast? What's our goal? What's our meaning? And it was called 4Color Podcast, or 4Color Girl Podcast. And it was just basically 4 girls that was Black, that was from the city, who wanted to discuss what it was like being a Black woman, young adult, and just in college. Our experience, the things that we went through, the things that we've seen in our young life, what we see now as we were going to a PWI, predominantly white institution. And, we just wanted to discuss like what life was about at that time for us. So we were super excited. We did it, started everything, y'all. It was perfect. And then just went downhill. And when I say downhill, y'all, I mean like it was up here and then it just went straight down. We wasn't agreeing on anything anymore. It wasn't fun for us. We kind of lost that spark, that spark that you have when you really want to do something. We just honestly lost that spark altogether. It just went away, and no one can really explain what it was. And till this day, I remember like the day where we was just like, it's done. It was the day that everybody found out that Nipsey passed away. We were just about to do a podcast and record, and we found that out, and we just sat there. We talked about it. We were just talking about life and everything. And after that, it was kind of just like unspoken but spoken that this podcast might not be the best for us. And it was no bad blood, no beef, no anything with that, but it was just that it wasn't meant to be. And that's okay, because sometimes everything ain't meant to be at that time, or it's just what it was exactly what it was for that time frame, and it wasn't what it needed to be moving forward. And that was it. Now, to be honest, I was kind of hurt by it, just for the simple fact, as a Black woman, you want to do something with other Black women, and you want it to be powerful, and you want it to be good. because in social media and just everywhere you see that when Black women get together, all they want to do is argue, fight, and it never works out. It's never together. It's never right. And so I really wanted that to be different. I wanted to take that stigma away of what people actually seen as like women being together. I wanted other women to see us together and be like, okay, like I can do something with other Black women, and we don't have to, bicker all the time, or it doesn't have to be a fight all the time. However, it was like, okay, Kia, that's what you wanted, but that does not mean that's what other people wanted. And that's something that you have to realize when you're doing something with other people, whether it's a business or whatever you're doing in life. When you're doing something with people, you gotta know that it's not just your dream, your idea, or your vision for it. It's what everybody goal or vision is. And if you can't see eye to eye on that, then that means that you all need to go your own separate ways. And there's nothing wrong with that, because God gives each person a different vision sometimes. And that vision is just for you, and the other vision is for someone else. And that's what it is. So anyway, moving forward, I did that podcast and I was like, okay, I like this little podcast thing. And it was just the beginning of people actually starting to know what a podcast was. Podcast was just starting to get a little bit popular, but not everybody in the world really knew about it. It was really kind of still low key. So I said, wow, I kind of like this more than radio, because I was, radio, you had to deal with music and all the other type of things. And podcast was more of just connecting with the camera, with the mic, connecting with people through a camera, through a mic. And so I was like, okay, this is what I think my lane might be, but not sure. Fast forward, graduate, and what I had as a dream of going straight to a news station did not happen. And I was crushed and it hurt. And I was like, okay, God, maybe what I thought I was supposed to do in life, what I thought you wanted me to do, wasn't for me. And I'm like, all right, God, I hear you. Cool. We just gonna throw that whole dream away. We're gonna forget about it. And then boom, the pandemic happened, and it forced us to sit and think about our life, think about where we're at, think about what we want for ourselves. What do I really want in this life? What do I want to come out of it? And that's when I realized, like, wow, I threw away something that I actually enjoy. And then I talked to my best friend Keisha, and we was like, wow, we want to do a podcast together. We had no idea, y'all, where to even start at. I mean, I knew a little bit from the podcast that I did previously, but not to the extent that we were about to go. It was fresh, new for both of us. I just knew that she was good at advertising. She knew she was good at advertising and doing all of the flyers and all of that good stuff. I was good at the editing and all of that good stuff. So we both knew our lanes right away. We didn't have to really discuss it. It was just, you know what you're good at? I know what I'm good at. Let's do this thing. And we worked so hard to come up with the name, y'all, On the Cloud Podcast. Yo, if Keisha was here, she would tell y'all, like, we was up all night. She came to Detroit. We was on my balcony, like, just thinking of names, corny names, everything, y'all. It was a long night. We literally thought about how our theme song was going to be, what our goal was going to be, how we were going to move forward with it, how we were going to do a podcast at 2 locations, because she's in Grand Rapids, I'm in Detroit. We had to do research, everything, y'all, from the whole 9 yards. We had to think about everything. And we were like, okay, this is cool. And it was perfect. It was great while it lasted. It was everything that we wanted it to be. And then, life happens. You see something one way, I see it a different way. Also, we had a lot going on in our personal lives, everything. And so, like I said, our episodes called It's Not That Easy, right? So at the beginning, things seem so easy. Everything's flowing. Everything is great. And then, boom, you get hit, and you're faced to figure out if you're going to continue and try to get over this, or are you like, okay, maybe we need to switch some stuff up. And so we had that tough conversation. And this time it was hard ending that podcast, because that was my best friend. And if anything, I never wanted our friendship to mess up at all. Like, regardless of what the podcast was going to do, I'm like, you my girl. We're friends first, podcast second. And so I'm not gonna lie and say it was easy, but no, like, everything was hard. The ending of it, what we're gonna do next, what's gonna happen. We never really even, like, we closed the chapter, us two, we had our talk, but we never really closed it for our followers or anybody. We kind of just went ghost, basically. And it wasn't meant to happen like that, honestly, y'all. We were supposed to, like, end it straight, but wasn't that simple. And I'm so happy that our podcast did not mess up our friendship. I'm happy till this day that I still got my girl. She's still my freak. I'm still her freak. And we continue. And with one thing, y'all, I'm going to say is, with whatever you do that you're struggling or trying to do, that your life happens and there's life lessons. And people always say, things is here for a reason, a season, or for eternity. You just never know. You learn as you go and stuff. And it's so true. But not just that, but there's lessons in life. Every day is a day in a classroom, honestly, to learn something new, to see something new, figure out something new that you never knew before. And that was for us. Throughout our podcast, we learned so much. She found what her true passion was that she never even knew. I learned things about me that I never knew. And so it was a lesson for us, despite of what we thought it was, It was our podcast ending, it's over. But no, it was God was speaking to us. That was a time for God to teach us so much through that. And we're still young. We still have life to live. And God wanted to teach us something. And so through that, we got our lesson. And that's how we were able to move forward so quickly, because we were able to receive what God had to say for us and not be so upset with the podcast ending. And so that's what you have to realize. Now, anyway, moving forward, when we finished, I was sitting and thinking, like, what you gonna do now? You just gonna throw away your dream once again? Or are you gonna try again by yourself? So it was the question of, do you take this journey, this road alone? Do you find someone else to do it with? And that's for people out here who's, trying to come up with a business. Do you do it alone? Do you find someone to do it with you?
All right, before we continue with our conversation, make sure to follow me on my personal social media accounts to stay updated on what I am doing. You can follow me on Instagram at _KiaZ, _KIAAAZ. You can follow me on Facebook at Kia Brewer. You can follow me on Snapchat at FabulousKia_4 and on TikTok at Zakia Brewer. Okay, so where did we leave off at?
And so you're asking yourself, like, what's that, am I doing it? Am I doing it by myself? Or am I not going to do it by myself because I'm afraid of something happening, or I'm afraid of doing it alone? Or are you genuinely, truly want to do it with someone, and that you really want a business partner for the right reason? And so that's a question that you have to ask yourself. No matter what you're doing in life, no matter where you're at, you have to ask yourself, are you doing it because you're afraid of what may happen if you're alone? Or are you doing it with someone because you actually want to do it with someone? And so I had to sit with that question, y'all. And I was like, okay, God, I got you. I'm basically scared to do my dream alone. How crazy do that sound, y'all? But when you think about it, I'm pretty sure a lot of other people had to sit and hear the same thing. You sit down and you're like, wow, okay, God gave me a vision. God gave me a vision for myself, and I was too scared to do the vision and the assignment that He had called for me to do. And so I pulled other people to do it with me. Now, everybody that I pulled into this dream, I'm so thankful, because they taught me something. But also, if I wasn't so afraid and scared to do it alone, I could have been learned my lesson a long time ago. But everybody learned at their own pace. And so for me, God had to keep closing those dreams or closing those chapters that I thought I was doing right down, because that's not what he asked me to do. And that's not the vision he gave me. And since he gave me the vision, no matter how many times I wanted anybody to do it with me, it probably was never going to happen with anyone else because the vision was not given to them. It was given to me alone. And so that's what you have to realize. That's what you have to know. Like, it's not easy because sometimes you have to walk that journey alone. Sometimes you have to go after that thing by yourself without people understanding, without anybody supporting you, without people knowing what's going on. But are you going to stop and allow that to make you not do anything? Or are you going to continue to push forward and ask God for that strength, honestly, to continue to do it alone by yourself? And so that's something I had to do for me. And so everything that I did, I took my time this time. I wanted to make sure that I was hearing God with every aspect. My name, like I said, I wanted it to connect to who I am, because this is a legacy thing. When I'm gone and everything, I want this podcast to last for forever, y'all. So when I'm gone, this is a legacy. My name will remain on this podcast because it's a part of me. That vision was a part of my name. And so that's the whole reason for it. My logo, I wanted my face to be shown. And that funny backstory is that the logo is a whole photo shoot that I did with my cousin for her t-shirts and her line and everything for her business, I Am Flavor. Shout my cousin out. But anyway, so yes, like, I did that and didn't even know that photo shoot was going to even connect to this. So you see what I'm saying? Sometimes you don't know what the end goal is. You can't even see what is about to happen. All you know is that God is putting these little things in, and you don't know what of it that you're going through or what of it that you're doing now that's going to actually go into that goal, that dream that God has for you. But you have to take your time and you have to be so aware of everything. And so that's what I wanted with my podcast, is that I wanted to be aware of everything. Now, granted, my podcast is just beginning. Everything is not going to flow as the best as I want it to flow. But I know that when I take something else out that I'm working so hard on right now, and I'm going to give my podcast extra time, I know that, boom, that's going to be better. Also, I know that I'm still learning. And so when you're doing this business or whatever you're going after, give yourself some grace. Like, allow yourself to be able to learn from what you're doing. Be able to allow yourself to be present of where you're at. Don't be so focused on the end goal that you're not present of where you're currently at. And then when that end goal happened, you like, dang, I don't even remember how I got here, because you were so focused on that goal that you wasn't present. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, keep your eye on the end goal, but be present along the way. Don't lose sight of what's happening right now just because you're trying to run to the finish line. You don't know when your finish line gonna be, so you trying to run and run and run. You don't even know where the finish line at, y'all. So yes, anyway, just think about that. And when I thought about this whole episode of It's Not Easy, I was gonna talk about your process as being pregnant and the whole pregnancy process and the stages that you go through, and then you becoming a parent and everything. But I was like, you know what? No, that doesn't connect to me because I'm not a parent right now and I haven't went through no pregnancy. So I can't really speak on that as much, So I want to talk about what was good for me. So anyway, when you're going after something, think about it as you trying out for a sport, a team, whatever you're trying out for. Imagine you trying out for it. You did practice a little bit to be able to try out. And once you tried out, what did you do? You gave it your all. You don't know if you're about to make the team or not, but you tried out, you gave it your all, and you hoping for the best. But that's just the beginning. Now you're waiting to see what happens after you make the team. And once you make the team, you got to still grind. You got to still work hard. You still got to be consistent. You got to go to practice every day. You got to give it your all. You got to be on time. You got to be present of where you're at. And nothing is guaranteed, but you got to work hard for it. You got to know that, okay, if I put in my time, then I know that I'm doing my part. And with that, you got to have faith. You have to have faith. Without faith, without work, it's dead. And so you got to put in your work and you got to have faith in it. And so I look at everything that I do in life as me trying out for something, because I've played sports all my life. And so I can see that vision right away. You know, sometimes you got to sit on the sideline and you got to watch everything from a different point of view. And so in life, sometimes I got to step back and watch everything from a different point of view, from a different vision, from a view site. So I can be like, okay, now when I get back in the game, I know what to do because I've been on the sideline for a minute. So sometimes you can't just be moving. Sometimes you got to stop and actually look at everything and see what you need to pivot at and what's going good and what's not going good. And so for me, that's what I got to do. And then once you're in a game, you got to go hard. You got to practice when you're not going hard, you know. And that's what life is about, whatever you're going after. That relationship, without work, without faith, that relationship is dead, you know. That job that you want to go after, applying for it, if you don't apply for it, then you're never going to know if you can actually get that job or not. And if you don't get the job, that don't mean that it's the end of the world. That means that, okay, now you have to remember that you got to work a little bit harder to get to that job, to get to that career that you want. If you want to go after opening up your business, okay, you got the dream. Now what? What are you going to do with it? You got to start putting everything together. That's practice. That's you putting everything together, working hard. So then when it's game time and your business is all together and now it's for the world to see, you're able to show it. And so now that we're even talking about what to show to the world, you know, a lot of people deal with allowing their baby or what you've been working so hard on to be shown to the world because you're so scared or maybe afraid of what others may say. Criticism is real. People got things to say all the time. And so now you have to deal with, what are you going to allow to affect you? If somebody say something wrong or mean, are you going to just stop what you're doing or are you going to continue? And so that was a big thing for me. Okay, when I've been holding on for this podcast for a minute now, just because I'm like, okay, when I throw it out, I know that I'm going to receive stuff. But I have to be open because somebody may say something to me that actually may help me. And so if I'm so guarded or so against anything, then I won't be able to allow something good to come to me to help with my podcast. Or I had to be like, okay, and if somebody say something messed up, am I going to just stop because somebody did not like it? No. What about all the people who it does? Who actually listen to it, who actually like it. And then for the last part, you got to think about how many people are supporting you. That's a big thing that people think about. Like, who's supporting me? And we're so stuck on a number. We're so stuck on a number that that's what literally affects us. If only 3 people support me, that you're not good enough, you feel like. No, you don't know who those 3 people could be. Those 3 people could literally get you to your next point. But if you're so stuck on a number, then you will never be able to progress in anything because you're so focused on just that number, on just how many people are supporting your business or supporting you in your dream. And sometimes everybody ain't meant to support you in your dream. Sometimes you have to walk that journey alone so that you can get what you're supposed to get out of it because it's not meant for everybody. And so I wanted to share that with you all because it's not easy going after something. And just this past week when I was in church, our pastor kept saying, like, stop limiting God. And we don't put enough faith in God. God just asks us to do our part. Work. Do what you got to do and allow him to manifest everything else. Allow him to put everything in the way that it's supposed to be. But we're so focused on having our hand in every part of it. when he only telling us to just have our hand in this one part and he got everything else. And so sometimes we have to stop limiting God. We have to actually have faith that God can help us get through it. And then lastly, stop doubting yourself. Stop doubting yourself, because that's what set people apart from actually going after something and people who don't go after nothing, is that self-doubt. You be like, I can't do it. Why me? Is this really what I'm supposed to do? Can I do it? What happens if something fails? What about if I don't do right? What if no one likes it? What about if nobody support me? And keep going. Keep going. If anything that you get from this episode, keep going. Go after that dream. Do not doubt yourself. Do not second guess yourself. And don't be upset with yourself. Give yourself grace in every aspect. And know that it's going to happen if it's meant to happen. And if it's not, best and believe you will know that it's not meant for you and that you need to pivot the way that you're thinking of your dream, or ask God to enlighten you on what actually this is supposed to be that you're supposed to do in life. And yeah, that's what I got for y'all with this episode. That it's not easy, but to keep going. And let's talk about the parts where it's not easy so we can encourage each other. And let's talk about the ways that we can actually continue to support each other and help each other to achieve our goals and our dreams and our aspirations that we have for ourselves in life. And so with that being said, I have something new that I'm going to add to my podcast. It's called IQ of the Week. And the IQ is your inspirational question. This is an inspirational question that will inspire you to think about something that maybe you don't think about, to get that juice flowing, to think about, okay, what's stopping me, or whatever the topic is, it gets you to actually start thinking. So anyway, the IQ of this week is, what is that thing that's keeping you from going after that dream? If it was removed, would you go after that dream? So make sure that you actually answer this question. I'm going to be posting it on all my social media when I drop the episode. So let me know, what's that thing that's keeping you from going after your dream? And if it was removed, would you go after that dream? Let's be real. Let's be honest. And, I'm just so happy that you all tuned in to another episode with your girl, Kia Be a Gang, in the house. So make sure that you listen to it on all platforms. Stay tuned for episode 3 that will be coming out soon. And I love you all. Be blessed and see you in the next episode.
Hey, don't leave me hanging. Before you leave, make sure to subscribe to Zakia Chanel Podcast. You can listen to my podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Buzzsprout, Google Podcasts, and SoundCloud. Or go over to Zakia Chanel TV on YouTube to listen and watch the podcast. Looking for someone to host your event, or want to learn how to start your own podcast, or need organizing tips? I'm your girl. Contact me via email. Remember, it starts with you. Be blessed and take care of yourself.